Namaste. Welcome to Love Wins. I hope you're having a blessed and beautiful reality. Let's burn a little Palo Santo. It is freezing. Freezing. Snowstorms, ice, like freezing here in my present reality. Guys, that light was too bright in my eyes. I had to turn that light down. But I hope you're having a blessed and beautiful reality. If you're like me, I hope you're doing what you gotta do to stay warm. And yeah. I have had the nudge, the knowing to deliver a message, that there was a message to come through, and I've had gotten into the setting up or in the vibe, and then got called to duty, and that's been the ongoing energy. And the end of the day, just cuddling, getting in bed with the babies, and they're always my babies. I just said to myself, they're not babies anymore, but they're always babies. And a lot of resting. This energy right now, and if you're experiencing the spiritual warfare as is the energy, like you're aware of the energy, it's very heavy. It's rest is required, right? Like I've been very much in high vibration and good vibes, but also feeling like right now is candlelight in a book, and I'd probably read 2 lines and be out, but I kept feeling that there was a message that needed to come through. But so I was hanging a curtain today to keep the cold out, because I have been pinning up my bathrobes in the windows at night to keep the chill out, and then wanting the sun to come in during the day. And I just said, just hang a curtain. Just hang a curtain. So I'm still gonna have to, if I want the sun in, gotta move all of my window things, but it's all a production, and I'm the holy producer, according to my birth chart. So yeah, one of the things that happened this weekend, right after Jacob came home, we had an all-boys sleepover, and Bella went to her best friend's house. And when I was out walking the dogs, they were jumping on my bed. I have a no jumping on the bed rule. Most of y'all have that same rule. I have allotted spaces where the kids can indoor jump. I have a broken couch that got broken from jumping. That is your jumping couch, right? So like, it's very simple. Just don't break mom's rules and there's never a problem. But kids will be kids and boys will be boys, and Jacob's eye is busted. I've heard 3 stories. They all include jumping on the bed. I have a feeling there'll be a few more stories before the actual truth comes out, but there was a collision and there's a black eye, right? And the first story was he fell on top of Bella's water bottle, and then it was he fell into, we have this plastic baseball bat the kids play with, that he fell into it, right? And then I was like asking him, like, why did you lie? Like, why couldn't you just say that from the beginning? And he said he didn't want his nephew, his cousin, my nephew, to get in trouble. He didn't want him to get in trouble. And I explained to him that it's no different when somebody hurts you and bullies you and they ask you to lie for them, versus when an accident happens and you lie for that person. It's all a lie, right? Like, and I think about this from a higher perspective, and I think about what I would have told my kid, right? And I think about all of these ways we're supposed to believe we should be, and it goes back to like this loyalty, this idea of loyalty. Like, you're my friend, you're my cousin, you're my sister, you're my mom. I'm not gonna tell nobody, because like, you give this person a pedestal because of a role. But what are we loyal to? Abuse? Again, that goes back to, we're normalizing abuse. So to break the chain, to be the generational curse breaker in my family, I can't allow my son to lie for his nephew because he doesn't want his nephew to get in trouble. My nephew and my son need to know that this is a safe society where it's okay to speak the truth. You're not going to get in trouble. We can have a conversation about it. It's an open space to understand, to take what happened as the lesson. And what do we learn from this? Jacob, how did that feel? Nephew, how did that feel? How did you feel when he got hurt? What did that make you feel? Right? Like, tap into that empathy that the children have and let them know, like, yes, you were wrong. You shouldn't have been jumping on the bed. Y'all should not have been horse playing on my bed. Absolutely should not have been horse playing on my bed. Like, for real. My number one rule in my room, right? And leave the bad energy at the door. This is my safe space. There's people that will not walk in my room because the energy protects this space. They spiritually, energetically, they cannot step through the barrier. And they know it. They won't say it, they won't admit it, but like, that shit is real, right? And but they shouldn't have been jumping on my bed. Back to the subject at hand. We talked with my mom, we talked with the nephew, we talked with Jacob, we all talked about it. I still don't even know if I have the actually true story, but I have them in a position of understanding why it's better to tell the truth. That you're not going to get in trouble every single time something happens. That it's okay to take accountability. And if when you admit you've done wrong, then whatever consequence happens, Jacob had to sit with ice. He had to understand, even though the ice was cold, it was unpleasant, he didn't like it, and his face is going to hurt for a couple days. You got to put the ice on it. This is the consequence. The nephew, he needs to know that you can't play rough with babies. You're 10, they're 6 and 5, you're 10. You can't come over and play if you're not going to play where my children are safe. Like, I hate to say that, but I say that because, like, at the end of the day, my children's safety is my priority. So if you can't understand that you play too rough and calm it down and be mindful and present, I'm playing with younger kids. I'm not playing with 10-year-olds. I'm not playing with older cousins, nephews, brothers. Like, I'm playing with babies. I play with babies. Like, they're, they are like 4 or 5 years younger than you. And that's just like, I don't know, that's always how I've parented though. Like, I've always been that present parent. But there's layers to this, right? So, crazy thing is, my blog's been on my mind. And I've been taking baths and meditating before bed, and it's been coming into my mind. And one of the things that is just so funny, not funny, crazy, not crazy, is that right before 2020, my blog was so super infiltrated, like hacked. I had thousands and thousands and thousands of like porn spans and just weird freaking hijacked spam emails. It would flood it that I couldn't even find the actual messages that came from actual readers. And I had about 5,000 on average followers who subscribed to my blog. So like, I was building something. I was in the very beginning phase, but I had enough of I had moved myself from beginner to intermediate. Like, the blogging thing was actually what I was doing for a living. I would dance to support my kids, but blogging was what I was doing, and I was a self-love blogger. My blog was Random Acts of Candace. It was my continued journey to self-love. Now, that blog caused a lot of problems, because when you're blogging about self-love and you're taking accountability for things and you're looking in the mirror and you're breaking down your relationships, the people you had relationships with, if they are not in a place of being accountable for their part in what they played, you're just like the person who can't get over it. Like, why can't she stop talking about the past? But like, that's not what you're doing. You're actually healing, and this is part of the processing, right? And things would come up, and as they would come up, I would write about them. And I'm just remembering so many things, because being in this like position in my life where I have to defend my child's safety, I'm just protecting my child. And this whole smear campaign that is turned into about education, it's like, I have a whole blog where I'm educating my children on the blog. Any genius who can Google can find my blog, right? And it's like, something kept telling me to like, something about the blog. There's something about the blog. It went down right before 2020. And I was so busy, like, just so busy with the new baby and my crazy relationship with Jacob's dad, how we weren't together, but like, I still did everything. I was his slave. I was his secretary. I was his maid. I was his cook. I was his escort. Like, I was anything he needed, but we weren't together. And that was when my children got uprooted from what was normal, because I was establishing roots between Canada and Key West. Like, I had roots and we had a system. It was when I got in that relationship when things got uprooted. And 3 months after taking them from Canada to Florida, he moves to Tulsa, and we have to go because baby Jacob, and it's like, and then his life in Tulsa went wah, and like, I was just like doing everything, and my life wasn't my own, right? And then I got in a relationship, and I started to find myself in this relationship, and we broke up, and I was supposed to go into like depression. They wanted me to just like completely just like waste away and die, like, because I wasn't worthy to be a mother or to have love, and all of the stuff that narcissists do to gaslight you, right? We know about this stuff. It's part of spiritual warfare. Make you feel not worthy, make you feel not good enough. You go from relationship to relationship, but until you go within and heal within, you keep getting mirrors of all of these things you're supposed to heal, right? So you have to heal it. You got to feel it to heal it. And if you don't heal it, you're going to keep feeling it. So we cycle until we don't cycle, right? Until we quit and we say, no more. We're not loyal to abuse. We're healing, right? But so like, I find it interesting. So in 2023, I'm ready to blog again. You know, I'm dating my senior Ashtanga teacher. Him and I got into a relationship, and he was a traveling yoga teacher and who lived in his van. So for a year and a half, we did van life, and I would travel. And my only job was to just be with my babies and be out in nature and heal and like connect. And I had so much me time, and we had so much nature time, and I have tons of footage and memories, and it was like a really good time for me, and I was ready to blog again. So I contacted the guy who did my web hosting, because he has some really expensive equipment that he backs up all of his stuff. And he said for some reason, he worked on it for 48 hours. He could not understand why he cannot find anything past 2018. 2018 entered Jacob's dad. 2019, Jacob's born. I wrote a lot of blogs about the way I felt and the way I was being treated and the things I was witnessing, because I was that deep on my healing path. Like, they're all gone, right? Can I accuse? No. But the funny thing about my blog, Random Acts of Candace, there is no random. And that was like the thing. So today I pulled it up. Now, after I lost my hosting, it got kicked back to the original blog on the WordPress, because I had captured the address, I guess. Like, I don't know, tech stuff. And I had somebody build a site for me on my own space. But I use the WordPress platform, so it kicks back to WordPress, but the original blog is still there, the way I created it before it was recreated, right? But there's nothing after 2018, and I blogged all the way up into 2020. I was blogging when Bella was born. I blogged about both of my pregnancy photo shoots. Like, all of it's gone. Coincidence? I don't know. But so sitting here I know I'm supposed to record a video tonight. I know there's a message that wants to come through, but like, I'm looking at my blog and I'm like, eeny meeny miny mo. I click one. July 27th, 2016. The title is Mindfulness Isn't Just for Adults. I just read it. I found some errors, some typos, some grammatical errors, ways that I would word it better and place it better now, being that years later, you know. But I'm feeling guided to read the blog to you. Now, it's very interesting because this is the child now at 19 has told me that I am the reason of his anxiety, but have not seen him in over 6 years. And every attempt I made to see him was always shot down. And I have like all of these years of text history. I was even uninvited to his graduation 1 week before graduation, after making my way all the way west and hanging out on the West Coast, house sitting for 2 months just to be there and available and have enough money to go to that graduation. I was uninvited week before. I didn't lash out. I didn't freak out. I didn't cause a scene. I swallowed it, and I just took off crying, driving and crying and healing. And that's when I picked Jacob up from Boston, and that's when we went camping in Tennessee. And there's been a lot of incidents like that. A lot of incidents that the average person, those heartbreaks, would not have survived. Like, they expected me to be on drugs, to be a mental health case, to be depressed, to be suicidal. That's what they wanted. People who did not like me being happy and successful and blogging and speaking my truth. It says on the side of my blog, the world is our textbook and life is our lessons. We were unschoolers. We were world schoolers. World schooling was the dream. Like, and that's what I worked for. Bella, I'm recording. Thank you, baby. World schooling was the dream, and I did the best I could to take it as far as I could, and I felt my time was cut short. And I'm realizing when it was cut short, but I have no regrets because I got my baby Jacob and I have my baby Bella, and like, I'm blessed. Like, despite everything, all of the betrayals, all the Judas, all the karmics, all the ones who sold their soul to gain the world, like, I forgive all of them. Like, I am who I am. I remember who I am. I have love in my heart. I have connection. I know what this is all for. I love my life. I'm here to serve. And healing is my thing, right? But this particular post was a conversation I had with that son, my oldest son. His name is Gabriel Alexander. I gave my kids strong names and names with options. And I parented as I learned what I learned. Like, when they were babies, I became a yoga teacher. So spirituality, mindfulness, meditation, I went through all of these different phases, and I taught them what I was learning. And we explored, and I gave them options. And when they were ready for school was always an option. I had a sister who my son went to school with. My son went to school here in Michigan with my mother. It was an option. That freedom and that choice that I gave them was weaponized. My other son told me children shouldn't have a choice. And it irritated me, it triggered me, because children very well should have a choice. Children are pure. Children know. Children actually know energy and wrong from right way more than we do as manipulated adults. The children, that is God's kingdom. Heaven is the children. So, I'm going to read this blog to you because this story is for someone. There is healing in this story, and there's healing for me. And that son was afraid of a lot of things. He was very much afraid of a lot of things. And it was his father. His anger was scary. His rage was scary. His temper was scary. His rejection was painful. Anyways, and I don't blame. I just recognize healing has a very specific energy. It has a look, it has a feel, it has a glow. And when you're not healing, karma has a look. It has a feel. It has its very own signature. Feels like pain. Feels like depression. It feels like anxiety. It feels like blame. But most of all, it feels like pain. Physical, mental, emotional pain. You gotta feel it to heal it. And if you don't heal it, you're gonna keep feeling it. The only way out is in. So let's burn a little Palo Santo. I'm going to read that blog to you. If any downloads come through as I'm reading them, I may pause and speak. Banishing, blocking, and binding any energies that are not of the highest white lights in this space. I burned before we started, but I'm feeling like the past has a message for the present, as all messages are timeless. We do not exist in that linear prison of a calendar from this matrix. We are multidimensional source creator beings, remembering who we are. As my karmic daddy would say, I had to wet my whistle. So, this was about somebody had called DCF on us and said I was addicted to prescription pills. I had to go through a drug test. My kids had to get questioned. We had to go through all that. I had to get screamed at by my ex because I'm putting them in a position of, we have DCF being called on me. I had a hater. I had a lot of haters. I had a lot of haters. But I had one who took it upon themselves to just knew I was on drugs. Just knew I was on drugs, right? The thing is, if these people actually paid attention, they would know. They would see, like, I'm so anti, right? But I spent so many years trying to explain myself to people that had their own perception of who I was, because I had to be what they perceived me to be, because it had to go with the story that they told about me. Those are smear campaigns. That's collective gaslighting. There's always a ringleader and a ton of flying monkeys. And I've been going through this for the past 10 years of my life. But I have called my energy back. I have connected with Source, the Most High Mother and Father. I know who I am. There's no more sheeple going back to being a sheeple. Once you take the narrow path, once your eyes have been opened, like, you just can't go back, right? And why would you want to? So let's read the blog. I find myself having the most pleasant evening after what could have been a very devastating day for my family. My character was attacked and false allegations were filed. I'm not going to get into details on here. I don't want to draw any negative attention to those who seek it. What I do want to share with you is this conversation I just had with my 10-year-old son. Today, he was a nervous wreck. He explained to me how his stomach hurt the entire day and he kept having to go to the bathroom. We have that kind of relationship. We're very open and we talk about how we feel, emotionally, mentally, and physically. The first thing he wanted to know was, who was it? I told him, I'm very sure I know and I don't care. And I did know. I still know. And I still don't care. He says, Mom, I just want to know. Again, I tell him it doesn't matter, baby. I ask him if he wants to learn an adult meditation practice that has helped me immensely since I've learned it. He says, okay. I teach him about Sutra 133. Here's a quick summary for all my non-yoga readers. The Yoga Sutras, threads translated in Sanskrit, are a collection of aphorisms written by the sage Patanjali and offer guidelines for living a meaningful and purposeful life. The sutras are known as the fundamentals of yoga. So, the Samadhipada, or the first section, covers enlightenment. Back to my conversation with my son, I tell him that there are 4 different ways to react towards other people in order to keep a calm mind. When your mind is at peace, then your stomach can feel fine. Okay? And that's true for everybody. Calm the mind. Now he's interested. First, I explained to my son what Sutra 133 translates to. Let's see if I can do this Sanskrit. Maitri Karuna Mudita Upikshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Apunya Vishayanam Chitta Pradhanam. I'm going to clip that up there so you can see it. Basically, in relationships with other people, you cannot control them. You cannot control them. You can't control me. I can't control you. You can only control your reaction to them. So in order to keep a calm mind, the mind actually becomes purified by practicing these 4 attitudes. Feelings of friendliness towards those who are happy, compassion for those who are suffering, goodwill towards those who are virtuous, and my favorite of all time, indifference or neutrality towards those we perceive as wicked or evil. So then I ask him if he understands what that means, and he says, kinda. Now I offer him examples. I start with happiness. I ask him how he feels when his little brother just beats a new level. My boys were gamers. I can't live in the shoulda, coulda, woulda. They were gamers. If I know what I know, but you can't live in the shoulda, coulda, woulda. Okay, so back to the blog. I ask him, do you get excited for AJ or do you feel jealous? He says, I get happy over AJ all the time. Okay, good. Now that's how you should always feel when you see someone happy. Smile and allow yourself to feel the same happiness. Next, I say, how do you feel when someone is hungry? He responds with, I want to feed them. I explain that want to feed them is compassion, and it's the same if someone is sick or cold. Third one, what would you do if you saw someone who was going out of their way to pick up spilled trash? He said, I would help them pick it up. And he would, and he did. Wonderful, I say, smiling. That person picking up trash has good morals. They're virtuous. You helping them is good. All right, last one. I'm not going to give you an example. I'm going to explain it. Some people just like hurting others. Evil people, and it's not talking about demons and monsters when it says evil. It's talking about people with not good intentions. They say and do things just to hurt your feelings or to physically cause pain. Those people, if you let them, they will get into your head. By worrying about them, you are creating negative energy in your brain. That negativity causes your nerves to make your stomach hurt. The only way to be calm is to completely act like they aren't even there. It's indifference. Like, I see you, you exist, but don't get in my field, okay? he says, what if someone hurts my family, like killed someone? I said, baby, that would cause all kind of pain, and there would be many ways to address this when or if it were to happen. But you worrying about that is creating your own unhappiness right now in this moment. You make yourself sick with the what ifs. And he did. He really still does, I'm sure. So I continue by telling him, whoever it was who tried to hurt me, they don't exist to me. Yes, they're a person, a human. They have feelings too, but their actions cannot affect my sanity. If and when their character changed, then would my reaction. But I don't care for revenge. Hold on, I need to get a drink. Stay out of my throat chakra. Okay, I don't care for revenge. They say revenge is the dish best served cold. But through my experience, the best revenge is no action at all. Living testament to that, by the way. No action at all. When one seeks a reaction, not giving them that and succeeding anyways, aside from their attempts, is the best revenge ever. I ask him if he gets it, and he says yes. The conversation goes into robots and many other topics. I inform him that he may be able to see his sister this week. My children have a sister from their dad's first marriage they haven't seen in years until recently. He gets excited and then gets quiet. I say, what's wrong? He goes, I don't want to say her name because it will hurt Dad's feelings. I'm so proud of him, and I tell him, babe, that's compassion. It feels good, doesn't it? Now, this is where there are layers to this. His dad, even though it hurt his feelings, should have been able to allow his son to have his joy, but his anger was so felt that my son couldn't feel his joy in the presence of the anger, the pain, because of his empathy as a child and the narcissism in the father. But you learn along the way. You have to go through it. Anyways, he says, and I know he's smiling, you're allowed to be happy about seeing her, but it's very kind of you to not to rub it in. Which is true. Like, you don't want to rock around like gloating. But I say you're special, Gabriel. He concludes with, I know, my name is an archangel in Alexander the Great. Yup, Gabriel Alexander, I'm special. I couldn't be more proud of him than in this moment. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I always ended my blogs with Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. If you don't know, Shanti, it means peace. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om is the primordial, universal symbol of God, source. Om, peace. Let's create peace. Let's be peace. We are peace. I am peace. You are peace. I am love. You are love. And love wins. But what the message from my past told my present is, when your child is around someone whose feelings, whose adult's feelings take the joy of the child, that adult is a danger to that child. Because their inability to regulate their emotions, their inability to take accountability for what they're feeling and to process it and to actually be responsible enough to choose to heal it, that's abuse. We're not loyal to the abuse anymore. We are not going to call it compassion. It's energy vampirism. And that's how we break the cycle, by being better versions of us every single day. Continue to do the work, continue to heal. Learn from your past. Don't live in the past. Don't regret the past. Don't mourn for the past. Learn from the past. Live in the present. Alchemize. Heal the traumas. Shift the reality. Raise your vibration. Release it. Remember who you are. And go into your heart. The only way out is in. I love you. Love wins.